it's not clear what the spending priorities of this nation are.
So you wanted to hear a lot more?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Did you wonder, as a great many people, I must say, including even myself, did you wonder how it's possible with all our emphasis in recent years on airport security that it was possible for these hijackers to get on board these planes and with nothing much more than box openers, paper cutters, to be able to take over these planes?
Well, again, it's a question of emphasis. Is it a question, is it an item covered by the media every day? Is it an item that we're spending enough on? And actually, I'm just trying to search the Thomas website right now to track down what legislation existed. And, I heard some reports saying it maybe hadn't been funded as much, but it's not clear. And the Congress, who we are told should be united tonight, should say, we need to evaluate our spending priorities. And we also need to figure out who our friends are in the international community when we move forward on this, an international policy.
John, thanks very much for your call.
Thank you for this.
Good evening to you. Just to put a human face on some of what has happened today, we are getting partial lists of the names of the victims. These are people who were aboard the hijacked airliners. On American Airlines Flight 11, that's a Boeing 767 en route from Boston to Los Angeles, all we know are the names of the crew. John Oganowski, 52, Dracut, Massachusetts, was the pilot. Tom McGinnis of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, the co-pilot. Sarah Lowe, Batesville, Arkansas, flight attendant. And the passengers, there's some of them on that plane. David Angel, 54, Pasadena, California, executive producer of NBC's Frasier. Lynn Angel of Pasadena, California. Edmund Glazier, 41, of Chatsworth, California, chief financial officer of the MRV Communications Incorporated. Tara Kramer, 30, of Worcester, Massachusetts, worked at PJX. Ted Hennessy of Belmont, Massachusetts. United Airlines Flight 175, a Boeing 767 bound from Boston to Los Angeles. Crew, Victor Saraceni of Lower Makefield Township in Pennsylvania was the pilot. Al Marchand of Alamogordo, New Mexico, a flight attendant. Passengers, Brian Sweeney, 38, of Barnstable, Massachusetts. Garnett Ace Bailey, 53, of Linfield, Massachusetts, the director of pro scouting for the Los Angeles Kings. And Mark Bavis, a scout for the Los Angeles Kings. Aboard American Airlines Flight 77, a Boeing 757 en route from Dulles Airport to Los Angeles. That plane was carrying 58 passengers, including Barbara Olson, 45, TV commentator, a lawyer, the wife of Ted Olson, now the Solicitor General of the United States. Karen Kincaid, a Washington, D.C. lawyer with Wiley, Ryan, and Fielding. And aboard United Airlines Flight 93, a 757 from Newark, New Jersey to San Francisco. All we know is the name of one flight attendant of 38 passengers, 2 pilots and 5 flight attendants aboard. C.C. Lyles of Fort Myers in Florida. Again, those just a few of the people who died in the terrorist attacks that began in New York City this morning, spread to the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., involved 5 crashed airliners. NPR's live coverage will continue after a short break. I'm Neil Conan, and this is a special report from NPR News. As the numbers of those killed and injured in Tuesday's terrorist attacks continue to mount, we'll bring you the latest news, in depth, as it develops, plus important events live. I'm Neil Conan. Join me for live coverage of the worst terrorist attack in American history. Special reports throughout the day and night from NPR News. This is a special report from NPR News. I'm Neil Conan in Washington. With me here in Studio 3A is NPR senior news analyst Daniel Shore. And joining us now from NPR's Los Angeles Bureau is NPR's Mike Schuster. And Mike, earlier today, Senator Orrin Hatch, the top Republican on the Senate Judiciary Committee, discussed U.S. intelligence intercepts that appear to create a closer tie to link Osama bin Laden to today's events.
Orrin Hatch has been talking to a few news organizations, Neil, and talking about conversations that he's had with senior CIA officials, in which apparently they indicated that they have some information about links to the bin Laden network, but it's very murky and cryptic, and it doesn't sound like Senator Hatch questioned the people that he was talking to in quite the same way that a journalist might. He's quoted as saying, they, meaning the intelligence world, have an intercept of some information that included people associated with bin Laden who acknowledged a couple of targets were hit. That's a direct quote from Senator Hatch, but that doesn't say much about whether the bin Laden folks were discussing something that they might have done or that their associates might have done, or simply that they were talking about something that they heard of as well as everybody else in the United States and the world. Senator Hatch also has been telling news organizations that there is the identification of someone on one of the 4 flights that may have links to bin Laden. But this is so murky, as you know, Neil. Bin Laden is a single person in Afghanistan with some people that he works with in Afghanistan, but even those terrorist incidents over the last 5 or 6 years that have been linked to him have been carried out by a wide variety of groups.